Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. Hope y'all are doing well. This is Dr. Delon Canterbury. Welcome to the Red Pill versus the Blue Pill web series. I'm the founder of Geriatrics and creator and founder of the Deprescribing Accelerator. So this will be a part of an ongoing virtual web series I came up with really to help empower like-minded senior care professionals get into the world of deprescribing and get into the world of senior care and patient advocacy. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you're back. Glad you are tuning in. I'm more than excited to be here as we will be launching another cohort of our Deprescribing Accelerator. But honestly, today, I'm not really here to talk about that. I'm here to talk more about my why. Why am I here in front of you today? Why do I care? Why does this mean so much to me? And we're going to dive into a little bit of that. But again, thank you. Thank you for joining in. I see two of you are logged on. Much love. I appreciate you all being here and spending some time to learn more about what is up with geriatrics and how pharmacists are well equipped to become master prescribers and are already experts at advocating. So we just got to take it to the next level. All right. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Today, we're talking about how geriatric pharmacists, geriatric nurses, nursing homes, but specifically today, we're talking about how pharmacists are missing out on some opportunities to generate revenue using deprescribing, and they are losing money and leaving it at the table. So we're going to talk about why this is so important and really how we can better serve and better advocate for our patients. Hey, what's going on, Doreen? Appreciate you tuning in. What's going on? Naja? Hope you are well. Thank y'all for tuning in for my little TED Talk. So appreciate the love and support of y'all being here. So, let's dive on in. I gotta start with the beginning. May as well. And why am I here? Why geriatrics? Why senior care? Why what has led me to really develop this type of service in creating deprescribing action plans for our overmedicated seniors? What's got me here, right? So let's start. Before pharmacy school, I was actually my senior year of college at Emory University in Atlanta. My grandma at the time was going through a little bit of a rough patch. She could no longer take care of herself at home. So we ended up having her put into a nursing home to help with her, hopefully, aging independently and gracefully. And boy, were we wrong. Okay. So in this very same nursing home, my grandmother, I think she was maybe like 83 at the time or so. She had a little bit of mild cognitive impairment. She just couldn't do the things she normally did, and forget her grandbabies, forget who she was talking to. So she did have some mild impairment, right? And so that was affecting her daily life. And we ended up putting her in a nursing home while she was in New York. And at the time, my parents were full-time employees. My dad has his own business as an accountant, and God bless him. He's been the man in helping me get here today. And my mom was a full-time teacher. Hey, God bless y'all teachers, because I don't have the patience, but she did. She taught for 50 years, almost 45, 50 years since she was 18. But needless to say, my grandmother Mildred was suffering. She wasn't doing too well in that nursing home and was already a little bit irritated to be put in a nursing home. Let's be honest. We all wanted independence. But we were also Caribbean, so we definitely don't want to be thrown into a nursing home. Right? That's typical in the Caribbean and our Guyanese culture. But truthfully, while she was there, she was declining. She wasn't doing too well. And the nursing home had eventually prescribed ziprasidone, which is, for those who may not know, an antipsychotic medication normally meant for schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. So if you want to be technical, this was completely inappropriate for a nursing home setting because she did not have any of those health conditions. However, here she was with a antipsychotic that was not benign in the least. So the medical supervisor wrote a prescription for ziprasidone, really honestly, to sedate her and control her symptoms, her dementia. So that's what they did. And unfortunately, her dementia had worsened while she was in a nursing home, right? You would think they were equipped to take care of that. But no, her symptoms did decline pretty dramatically, to the point where that nursing home could no longer look after my grandma Mildred. And we were pretty much forced to take Granny back into our home in Atlanta. And so we trying to move a woman, an elderly woman from a nursing home to Atlanta from New York, not easy, but I got to commend my parents who put in that effort, and all of the work my dad and mom did in her caregiving and seeking help, home health aides, finding another nursing home. But needless to say, she got worse while she was at home back in Georgia where my parents were. And it was a bit frustrating while I'm in college finishing up my classes, just hearing how she's wandering around at night, hearing how she's basically confused and irritable every day. And I know that can have an emotional tax on my parents, who were her caregivers, and also managing their lives, their full-time jobs, and still trying to finish raising the rest of us kids as we were going into college with my brother and sister. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for them. And so, unfortunately, it took a couple of months of the wandering of my grandma leaving the house. I mean, a lot of wandering, just found in the street, ringing the doorbell at 3 a.m., waking my mom out of her sleep. And it was like, yo, we gotta change something. Something's wrong. And something was wrong. It took us about 4 to 5 months to figure out that it was that antipsychotic medicine that was inappropriately prescribed that led to her significant decline. I mean, she was literally having symptoms of sundowning. Like full moons would make her freaking crazy, right? And even as the sun set, she'd become worse throughout the night. And it was taxing. It was taxing on my parents. And so it wasn't until, get this, a community retail pharmacist. What? Yes, they are superheroes. Yes, they are. I've been there and I've seen the work that they've done, but it wasn't for one. If it wasn't for one who stood up and advocated and literally pushed back against us using this medicine, that eventually was tapered and deprescribed. So about 2 to 3 weeks after, my grandma's severe dementia became just mild, okay? And she resolved back to her normal baseline self. So that was my beginning of like, how many seniors fall through the cracks of our healthcare system? Like, how many seniors? Like, this was a very, very close call. If that pharmacist didn't advocate, I don't know if my grandma would have lived to see 90. I don't. But I'm thankful that it occurred. But that was a moment in my journey into getting into pharmacy school that has never left me. It's a part of who I am, and it's exactly why I'm here today, literally founding a company trying to do what that pharmacist did for every patient I touch. Now, let's fast forward a bit more to later on, right? I finished UNC School of Pharmacy in 2014, 2015, get my license, become a pharmacy manager at the corner of depression and insanity with Walgreens. And I kept seeing the same issues: overmedicated seniors, particularly minority seniors. Elderly Latino and Black patients were the ones who had the most social barriers when they hit my retail counter. And here I am giving 20 shots, trying to fill all these scripts, trying to get these 90-day counts up, trying to get these metrics met. And I still couldn't truly help patients who really needed me in that moment because I didn't have the time. And yes, the corner of depression and insanity was exactly what it was for the last 5-6 years. But yeah, being there burned me the hell out. I got so depressed. I got so angry with our healthcare system and the way we delivered everything. And then even worse yet, how we treated our seniors was what really pissed me off. And it's like, you do all the right things, and here you are, and you can barely get by with your Medicare plan or your pension that you have left over. So that's another story. But needless to say, working in rural North Carolina as a pharmacy manager in Henderson, you keep seeing time and time again these very same patients who are losing access for don't have access to quality care, don't have the transportation means, or there's a brain drain, or there's not enough providers. They don't have it. So you end up seeing the urgent care as your primary care, which is reactive, which is wrong, which is costing the taxpayers money and harming our patients' lives. So needless to say, that got me depressed. And I figured, all right, I cannot do this for 20, 30 more years and be spiritually happy or fulfilled or aligned with my mission as a pharmacist to serve in a capacity that I felt my, I don't know, $400,000 debt would have amounted to after all this schooling and degrees and credentials and investments. And it was heartbreaking. So I decided to step away and think about some other options, right? I got my board certified geriatric credential while I was a retail pharmacist. I got that while I was at Walgreens. And we did see a primarily high geriatric population. So yeah, I wanted to learn more about how I can advocate, because I did not learn this in school. Unless you choose that elective in pharmacy school, it's unlikely you're going to really be seeing geriatric pharmacotherapy and understanding how it works in their body as you age. So anyway, I got that, opened my eyes to so much more. I was like, okay, yeah, we really don't know what's going on. We got to do a lot better with our seniors. So then I started wondering, all right, how can I use this degree? I started volunteering. I got to the community, which is what really makes me happy as a pharmacist and makes me really just tick in general. And I met this amazing nonprofit called Senior Pharmacists. I call them out all the time, but they were my inspiration to developing Geriatrics, which again focuses on telehealth, medication deprescribing, and advocating for seniors. But they were great. They work in Durham, and they literally help Medicare eligible patients figure out how to maneuver the best Medicare plan. Hey, Mariko, hope you're doing well. Hey, Scott, what's going on, man? And appreciate y'all tuning in live. But yo, they blew my mind. I was like, whoa, we can deliver healthcare the right way. We can do MedRex. We can do deprescribing. We can talk to the doctor as a team. We could provide value-based care. We can do this right. They had partnerships with social workers and medical students. I mean, it was an ongoing, continuous educational process. And I was like, damn, why the hell isn't all of America doing this? And we have the means and the capability to, so why not? So I said, well, F it, I'm gonna do it myself. And that's what I'm here to do in front of you. So I developed a similar model, but I focused specifically on deprescribing, particularly in our senior populations who we know statistically are overmedicated, who have the highest probability of having adverse events, falls, morbidity, mortality. You can name all the HEDIS measures you want, but they all affect quality outcomes. And they affect whether your loved one's going to be aging gracefully or having a near miss like my granny did with having inappropriate antipsychotics being prescribed for her dementia, which was worsened. Hey, Katrina. Oh, I'm glad you're here, because Katrina is a part of Senior Pharmacists and she knows I love them. So I call them out all the time. So thanks for tuning in. And she's like the lead social worker over there. She knows the secrets to all the plans. So I'm glad she's tuning in. But needless to say, I learned a lot in that journey of, well, entrepreneurship, quitting a job that definitely gave me six figures, losing that stability, betting on myself, investing on myself, but investing in my joy. I've been chronically depressed and anxious for well over a decade, untreated. And most of us, we don't really talk about it until it's some kind of crisis happens or whatever. But nah, that was reality for me. And my friends know that. I ain't got nothing to hide about it, but I can tell you my job was not helping that. I wasn't living in joy. I wasn't living in alignment with the purpose I felt we as pharmacists were intended to do. I felt we lost that mission when I came to that setting, and it it broke my heart. So I just was like, I can't do this. What's another way? And so the other way was I'm gonna do it myself, with the help of many who've gotten me here in this space, to be real. But if I didn't take that leap, I would still be crying in retail, just dying on the inside. And I, of course, am not downplaying retail. We need retail pharmacists, and especially more now than ever with what's going on. But I just had to show you real talk. That was why I'm in front of geriatrics and why this matters to me. So fast forward to my very first patient with geriatrics who was on 36 medications. I'm going to have a moment of silence for healthcare on that one, because why is a 70-year-old woman on 36 medications, right? I don't know. But I'm thanking God that this woman came to me, her family came to me and wanted me to do a medication review. And what was a simple medication deprescribing consult turned into a life-saving intervention, where this patient was deprescribed from 36 meds down to 8 medications and managed to avoid being involuntarily committed into a nursing home. Yes, she was on 36 medications. There were at least 8 different duplicate therapies. There were at least 2 prescribing cascades, as an example. And there was polypharmacy. There were like 4 different doctors who weren't talking to each other. So what they were trying to treat for their one little siloed condition became another issue for the other condition. So they're not treating the other condition because of that condition. And it became a circle of madness. So this is a pretty common example of polypharmacy and prescribing cascades in, unfortunately, in our seniors, which we see often. So it's very complex to weave through this and figure out what's causing what. And this is why you need to really befriend your pharmacist. But let's be real here. In starting this journey, if I didn't address that place of darkness that I was dealing with, I would not be in front of you today. If I wasn't almost fired from this job, fired from that job, if I didn't take this leap, if I didn't invest in coaches, if I didn't learn how to make this a viable income for me, I would still be in that hell, taking double the dose of my currently used Xanax and citalopram. So needless to say, our healthcare system sucks. Yeah, we know it. We're in it. We live it. We're a part of it. We kind of have to do it, but it's true. It's always sucked. And we reward the wrong things. We incentivize the wrong things. We love fee for service and don't care about value-based models. Now, there are people that do, but overall, like 90% of all services are based on fee for service models, I believe, from Medicare reimbursements. So that's just making us be another cogs on the wheel. Just feeding the next patient. I got to hit the next metric. I got 10 minutes to see you. I got 15 to see the next. I'm behind. I got to document this. I got to go for a PA. There's so much being thrown on these prescribers. And I'm not going to say they're all blameless, but the system is the problem. The healthcare system is the problem. I don't blame prescribers. Prescribers are stuck in a rock and a hard place. Plus American standards of, oh, if you don't give it to me now, I'm going to give you 2 stars. That whole mentality does affect healthcare. That is real. So I'm not going to say they're all blameless, But I am tired of train wrecks about to happen, or they happen and then someone almost dies and then we decide to practice medicine. That kills me. Like a little bit of extra time could have prevented someone from being forced into that nursing home, or avoiding a whole conversation on how to get you off of 6 different anticholinergics, Dilaudid, Klonopin, 3 different drugs that have Benadryl in it because no one talked to you about over-the-counter meds, and you have dementia, and you're wondering why you're getting worse, and you're called a walking zombie by your own daughter. That's heartbreaking. And worse yet, if you're Latino or Black, it's way worse. No one is going to be advocating unless you are coming in with a dogged plan and advocating for yourself. And that is what opened my eyes to how little our caregivers and our geriatric patients are leaning on pharmacists to do that leg work with deprescribing. I go to countless nursing homes. I speak at countless caregiver events. I work with people in home health agencies, wellness directors, people who literally run these independent living communities. And everyone says the same thing, that everyone is on too many damn meds and no one cares to stop it. No one cares. Now, you got people who are consultant pharmacists who work for LTCs, and they literally are billed and trained to do these audits, these Medicare audits, to make sure that facilities are in compliance. And guess what? I salute the hell out of them. But to me, on a grandiose scale, it's way too little for a huge community public health crisis. Not every consultant pharmacist can fix every issue. And don't get me wrong, they are brilliantly talented at what they do, but they're not even enough that exists to meet the demand. So, as dark as it may sound, this is exactly why pharmacists are missing out on opportunities to leverage deprescribing in a growing population that doesn't even have enough senior care providers to manage the what's around the corner. And what's around the corner is an aging population, less doctors. 2026, we got the timeline for the Medicare funds that will run out. So we gotta hope we got a president that will renew funding for that. If not, we have significant gaps in rural health communities and rural care. We don't even have housing for seniors now. We have a huge crisis with that. So we have multiple social barriers of care that are really impacting outcomes for people, particularly that look like me or who are Latino or indigenous. And again, we know this is an issue. We just pass the buck. Just pass the buck. Well, I didn't write that script, so I don't want to worry about it. Or well, I don't want to bring that up because I'm just I'm scared. Thank you, Ashley. But yes, and Ashley made a good point. I'll read the comment. In fact, let me show it. Ashley made a great point, and she's right. Again, there's no shade from me on anyone. I commend everyone for what they do, but consultant pharmacists only reach residents in nursing homes. I am concerned about the elderly people who are living at home. And guess what? That is who we're targeting. The people who are independent, or they may live in a retirement community, but they don't need like assisted help or anything like that, or around the clock service. They just live there. So again, there is a huge opportunity to discuss deprescribing in the, guess what, the most overmedicated population in the country. So why aren't we doing it? I'm gonna tell you what I experienced in leveraging this. And guess what? Let me be honest, most people don't even know what the hell deprescribing is. I gotta really break down what that even means, and I don't mind doing it, okay? Deprescribing is the safe removal of harmful medications with the supervision supervision of a clinician or doctor or pharmacist, just someone who's watching you as you taper off and making sure there's nothing that goes wrong. That's it. Does take a little bit of fine art, but ultimately, most meds can be stopped safely with the permission of your doctor, without really any side effects or adverse events. Okay. So you may be wondering, okay, Delon, you took the leap into entrepreneurship, you started geriatrics, you're de-prescribing. What barriers were in your way in this space? And guess what? There are quite a few. One, people don't know what the hell pharmacists do. That's straight up. People don't know what we do. People don't even think we have doctorates. They just think we're some guy in a white coat, counting by five, slapping your name on a bottle. We are way more than that. We do so much more to advocate and save lives, save money, reduce harm from the very same doctor you just saw, and trying to make sure that it doesn't lead to a STARS report that I got to document because a patient had a terrible illness because of that. You know, we do this regularly with no reimbursement. We do this regularly with no reimbursement every day. Every hospital has a pharmacist, just like how they're oncology pharmacists, doctors, they're oncology pharmacists, just like how they're nephrologists, there are nephrology pharmacists. Like there are so many types of pharmacists. So trying to get people to see we're more than just pill pushers. We're literally expert in drug pharmacotherapy and can consult and navigate a very complex healthcare system. And we do it a lot of times unpaid. So what did I face? First of all, educating the community on what the hell we do. That takes time. Fine. That's cool. But what I also faced was questioning myself. You know, because insurance ain't gonna pay me for this. And if they do, it's minuscule. It's $40 for an hour or 60 or something ridiculous that you cannot sustain yourself off. So you end up being attached to a prescriber, and then you have to get more people to get consistent revenue. And yes, you may be giving quality care, but it ends up being a repetition of what the hell I left retail for anyway. So I decided myself not to do that. And you can. That is a business model, and it can work. It does work, especially if you're into chronic care management, transitional care management, going into remote patient monitoring. You can do tons of stuff with Medicare billing the right way and still give quality care. So I'm not going to knock it. I'm just saying that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to educate and have patients hire me directly, me, Delon. And that's what I have developed as my revenue stream with my de-prescribing consults. And yes, there's a mindset shift here. I think the second barrier next to educating is the mindset shift around our medication. So our medication mindset is what I usually call it. We have a medication mindset here where we need to take a pill for every ill. That's what we are trained here. And it's cultural. It's embedded in how we market drugs. It's how we honestly make money. It's capitalism at its best. It's getting people to think you need the next best thing to be the next best you, to be sexy, alive, energetic, and all the buzzwords that you could throw. So education's one, but getting people to see, particularly our seniors who, guess what, have been probably doing the same thing for the last 60, 70 years of their life, right? After a while, it's kind of hard to tell someone what to do, and I get that. But coming with the lens of you don't have to take a medicine. Ooh, shivers, right? You don't have to take all these meds. You don't have to feel trapped by your pill box. Do you know how many med reviews I've done, or how many colleagues tell me about their shoe boxes full of all of these metformin bottles that they've just had auto refill because of mail order or whatever, and then people just hoard meds so they have a stockpile for a rainy day, and you're wondering, do you even take all this stuff? What's going on? That's what happens when we don't integrate pharmacists into advanced care models and leverage deprescribing. And it could be with a provider and you do it with insurance, or you can do it as a cash payer model and just do it yourself. We already have the basic core needs to be deprescribers, so why not be loud and proud and advocate in a way that's really translating to our communities in need? That's it. So the medication mindset is number 2 in terms of what challenges I've had to overcome. And it's getting people to see that there are other ways. It could be working out. It could be reducing salt. It could be alternative meds. It could be holistic. It could be integrative approaches. It could be acupuncture for pain management. There's so many avenues you can go down to really advocate for deprescribing. And I think deprescribing is more than just, all right, we're going to watch you get off this med. Deprescribing starts from the trust you have with a patient, how you're educating them, what relationship do you have? Are you coming from empathy? Are you aligning goals with the patients and with the providers? And are you able to have a symbiotic relationship where everyone wins? That's all deprescribing is. And I think this is what the hell we were supposed to do when we got into healthcare. Work together, have multiple eyes on the same patient, and show the same love and care. Stopping harmful medications in seniors isn't as hard as you may think. Now, complex-wise, yeah, sure, you may have some really strong cases, like 36 meds. Yeah, it's going to take you a little bit of fine-tuning. But I'm talking about getting rid of the unnecessary omeprazoles and ranitidine and random acid reflux meds that they had for 15 years, and no one decided to stop it because they just said, well, I've been on it for so long. That's no longer an excuse. That is no longer an excuse because I've been on it for so long, and that is what leads to harm. So what did I learn from this? I learned that advocating is so needed. Just us as pharmacists, as geriatricians, geriatric nurses, people who are in the senior care space can completely understand, because it's the same story, guys. I got so-and-so on this many meds, so-and-so fell, so-and-so had another stroke, so-and-so this, that. And we're not talking about the root cause. We're not talking about lifestyle changes. We're not talking about behavioral changes. We're not trying to motivate the patient. We're not trying to befriend them. We're not leading with empathy. We're not employing motivational interviewing. We are sticking to the reactive fee-for-service model that is already crippling our system and costing our taxpayers well over $500 billion per year due to medication-related side effects. 750 seniors are sent to the hospital every day because of a medication. Because of a medication that was well intended to help and treat, but we don't think about, when do we stop? We don't think about that. This is why pharmacists are the expert at deprescribing, particularly our geriatric consultant pharmacists who are already in this space and know the ramifications of leaving these meds on. And frankly, I have ER physicians who tell me the same thing. Polypharmacy is why this patient came in. Another person, XYZ. Blood sugar medicines were working too well. Too much insulin. They've bottomed out. Now their sugars are so low, they're in a coma because they didn't eat and because their insulin's too high. Preventable. So if any of y'all have been to the ER, you've seen that ER bill. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. If you educate someone and avoid someone from seeing that ER bill, you've not only saved them money, but you've actually saved the healthcare system money. Indirectly, yes, but you saved the healthcare system money. And guess what? Guess who likes to save money in healthcare? The insurance companies do. See, this is the thing I don't think about. The insurance companies love when patients are not having to pay for unnecessary pills, and they love it even more if we're preventing them from being sent to the hospital, which incurs more costs for the insurers to pay that healthcare system. So what am I preaching? I'm preaching value-based care, yeah, as a whole, but specifically, I am preaching deprescribing. I am specifically talking about deprescribing in seniors. And Ashley, guess what? I was scared too. It's okay to be scared to branch out on your own and become your own deprescribing expert. I get it. It's going to take some fear, and fear is still there. Trust me. There are days I'm still like, oh, am I really? But it's okay. It's how you respond to that fear. Are you going to stay in your place, or are you going to make that leap? I can't make the choice for you. And then frankly, the choice was made for me. I had to do it. But to say the least, pharmacists are already deprescribers. We just don't know that power yet. We just don't use it the way that it should be used and monetized and should be paid adequately. You think I still get paid the hourly wage a pharmacist gets paid doing this? That don't make sense. If lawyers can do this on retainer, and consultants from McKinsey and all these other people can do this, $1,000 retainer fees. I'm not that high, but still, the concept and the principle remains is that we are missing out on the money to advocate for our seniors. And better yet, we aren't truly serving the way that we are supposed to. We're not in alignment with what we're doing with our degrees as natural deprescribers. So I learned a lot in this journey. I learned a lot, and I'm still learning. That's why I have coaches, because there's much I don't know. But in speaking, in connecting with families, and hearing my favorite quote, which is, "Why didn't I meet you sooner?" Oh, I love when I get that. I get the yeah, I'm doing it right. But I get it every patient. Every patient tells me that. Why didn't I meet you sooner? Or why didn't I have you when my dad was around, or my uncle was here? And why don't more pharmacists do this? The demand is there, people. I'm just preaching the gospel, especially when I'm in these nursing homes, giving presentations, talking about this very same topic, and they're quick to ask, oh my gosh, what can I do to get off this statin? I'm tired of my statin. I'm tired of these muscle cramps. I'm tired of these pains. And it's doable. And again, I'm not bashing medicine here. I'm talking about evidence-based procedures to get people off of meds. And guess what? Sometimes there isn't evidence, so you just do it and see what happens. But there are strategies you can employ. So I've learned about facing my fears, because yes, there is going to be fear. And it doesn't go away. I'm gonna be real with you. There's some days where you're like, ooh, but the fear is gonna be there, and it's okay. You roll with it, you embrace it, you fail forward, and you continue moving on. I've learned how to be an advocate, and so in this space, I mean, just talking about deprescribing gives me residual income. So you can do the same thing. I don't have to be the only one. I want everyone to talk about this. That's my goal. I learned how to use my voice. I learned how to educate and teach, which I guess ironically is what my mom has done all her life. So I guess I am my mom's son, because I thought I hated teaching, and funny enough, I'm literally doing what she's doing. It's funny how that works. So that was round one. And then the big win was serving a higher purpose. The biggest win for me was serving a higher purpose, was being in alignment with what I think God wanted me to do, intending what I wanted to do. And it finally feels good to be in this space. So the topic today is how geriatric pharmacists, but not just pharmacists, also nurses, also clinicians in the senior space, period. Nursing homes, they're losing out on opportunities because they're not leveraging deprescribing. They're not talking about the problem. They're subtly feeding the problem because they have to survive. I get it. There's a mixture of capitalism and healthcare, and it's really tough to separate them completely, even though I wish we could in this world. We can't. It's a tough world, but we all have to eat. But in this journey, I know in my heart we can all achieve this together, making deprescribing the standard of care, making it the mainstay. But more importantly, we got to serve our seniors, man. Like, why are we leaving them to be another statistic? Why are we waiting for the problem to happen when we can actively do a review, and don't just do it once, continuously do it until they're down to 5 meds or less? We have that power, so use it. So today was my why. Today is why I'm in front of you. And I hope this was helpful. So this speaks to what opportunities there may be with deprescribing, but more importantly, why the hell do I care? Why am I talking about this for the last 2 years? And I won't stop talking about this until healthcare changes. That's my TED Talk. But yes, there'll be more tomorrow. I'll be doing another a series on this. Of course, this will be going on for the entire month of August. So we will dive more into some pretty easy tips that you can start using and leveraging deprescribing into your practice. Of course, whether you're a pharmacist, want to do your own thing, or if you want to be an entrepreneur within your business and you want to really change senior care. That's the goal of our program. So stay tuned for more details. I'll be back tomorrow around the same time. Much love, and see y'all next time.